Seshapere Season 3. YDS.
You don't say.
Outside Chasbali.
Really after a long unplanned break, but we're very excited to be back. My name is Mr. Somzolo, and
my name is Taps and Taps. Gawi the same time field.
And if it's the first time tuning in, welcome to You Don't Say. Again, this is Season 3, Episode 1. This is a platform where we come through Namachita. We have conversations concerning us, finances, relationships,
mental health issues,
sex, sneakers, whatever it is.
Stuff men don't talk about.
So these are the corridor conversations that we decided that we want to put on YouTube and have a focal point on it. And today we have a very interesting conversation around
influencer marketing. We're covering a very important content pillar on YDS, which is business opportunities, entrepreneurship. We try to capacitate each other here. So we have someone very special who's gonna give us a masterclass on influencer marketing, you know, because we believe that gents are not really capitalizing on that space.
Yeah. So today we have a brother called Hussain Van Roos, and a lifestyle and brand consultant. He works, rather affiliated currently with brands like Moom. Is it Moom or Mam? Moom. Perrier, Jouet. Shampoo, Perrier, Jouet. Just to enlighten you on the few brands that he works with. But man, introduce yourself.
Like you said, my name is Hussain Van Roos. I am a lifestyle and brand consultant, creative director by trade. Funny enough, I studied IT and I worked in finance for about 7 or 8 years. And then once I was there, I realized that actually my passion and my calling isn't there. It's more in people engagement, understanding why brands work the way they do. And now I found myself in the marketing space. I think I've been here, self-taught by the way, marketer. It just requires a lot of reading, sleepless nights, but this is where I find myself now.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Jen.
So the reason we brought you here is because the numbers are there. You know, numbers don't lie. Apparently, research shows that 84% of men compared to the 77% of women actually make online purchases. You know?
This is going into more.
Well, what's very interesting about the influencer marketing community is that it's largely dominated by women. You know, nothing wrong. The girls are focused. The girls are focused.
They know what they want.
Yeah. So, but CMS Wired actually predicted that by 2020, which is now this decade, the market itself would have grown to $10 billion. You know, and we've seen that it's taken a very recognizable shape. So the cake is big enough for everyone. You know, so we're gonna shift and move away from the debate whether women should be the ones who are dominant. We're just gonna say, why aren't gents really capitalizing on that? Is there any scientific or social reason behind women being largely dominant in that influencer marketing space?
I'll tell you, and look, you're 100% right. Predominantly women are the ones that make a lot of money out of social media. And the reason behind that is that us as gents, the only thing I use the internet for is to research something, to go online to purchase something if I'm lazy to go to the mall. And other than that, I use social media just to share with guys around me what we're doing and where we are. However, women go deeper than that. What they tend to do is, whatever it is that she just bought, she'll post it up. She keeps her consumers engaged or her followers engaged. And in that way, brands are looking for people who are authentic and sharing that piece of their lives. So you're showing your follower who you are and what you do. You're not just posing for a selfie just because you want a selfie. And the reason why now a lot of men are also falling into it or getting into the business of social media, I'll say myself for instance, is because I realized that sharing my own life doesn't mean that I have to get paid for it all the time. However, brands, what they'll do is they'll then go and look at your profile. I mean, speaking from the brand side of things, we go and we look at your profile and we say, okay, cool. How large is your engagement as a human being? You could have 1 million followers, but you're actually not engaging with your followers. And your engagement, I mean now, industrially wise, your engagement rate needs to be around 3.5%. So if you have 1 million followers, 3.5% of that, you need to be at least responding to their comments, referring them, doing this, doing that with them. If you're not doing that, it becomes a problem for us as a brand. We can't consider giving you even a 1 rand.
So, interesting thing, I mean, we had to sort of do a bit of research, me and Tabs, concerning the subject. Realize there's nano influencer,
mega, micro, macro.
Yeah.
We are the nanos. The biggest distinction is followers, obviously.
Yeah.
And when I say nanos, we are just below 1,000. You know?
We're coming up.
Yeah, we're coming up.
So with when a brand is deciding to choose someone, what could be
The primary metrics.
primary mentions, KPIs? Is it a following? You mentioned engagement. Is it frequency online? What's up with that?
Not even. So the interesting thing is that social media in South Africa only took like flight probably about 6-7 years ago, and we're still learning as a market. In the US, I know that they go largely on numbers, but they've also now started switching over to engagement rates. Look, you could have, like I mentioned, 1 million followers, but if you're not engaging your followers, we do not consider you as a brand, because what we're trying to do is convert. So I'll do this. Let me take a step back.
Yeah.
So there's a marketing tool called ADA, right? ADA is basically a funnel. In this funnel, it says, so A stands for, so it's A, it's attention, and then 1, interest, and then I is interest, D will be desire, and then A is action. So as a brand, I need to get you to the bottom part, which is the action part. So firstly, I need to create content that grabs your attention. Then it sparks interest in you as a follower, and then after that, there's a desire for it. Once you've desired the product or whatever I'm trying to sell to you, there has to be an action that comes out of that post. Either the follower showing interest by saying, yo, this is so dope, where can I get it? My engagement back as an influencer would then be, yo, there's this brand that I highly recommend, Daily Paper for instance. I need you to go to their pop-up store, it's in Newtown. That guy then takes the action of leaving his house, coming into the store, there's a purchase. So as a brand, that's what I'm always trying to do. So that at the end of the day, no matter what I put up, if I'm supporting a brand or I'm doing it for a brand, there has to be an action that comes out of that engagement. So if your engagement rate is below the industry rate, I'm not even going to consider you. But what we're doing now as brands is that we are now shifting the status quo. Like you mentioned, there's nano, micro, macro, and mega. Then there's still celebrity. So that they all live in 3 circles, right? And in the sense that in these 3 circles, imagine these circles, they intertwine together, right? In the middle is the brand. And the brand is trying to speak to the celebrity, trying to speak to the micro, trying to speak to the mega. Then there's also the nano. But what you need to understand is that the celebrity, probably about 80% of the time, all of these other scopes of influences are following the celebrity. So what we're trying to do in this ecosystem is that everybody, that whatever piece of tool or piece of content we put out needs to speak to everybody at once. So we'll then say, okay, cool, as a brand. And this is what I've tried to change with Moom Mattel. And I've always said, I'm not only going to work with celebrities, but I need micro and macro. Because that will then say to me, I'm covering the entire scope. So that when a micro influencer posts a piece of content, maybe he was chilling with the influencer or the celebrity influencer that I know, right? They're chilling together, sharing a drink or whatever the case may be. Once they, the micro, posts in the picture having the drink with this big influencer, everybody else that follows them, it closes the entire loop. So you don't necessarily have to cover the entire basis, but the biggest thing that brands are doing wrong or getting wrong is that they always go for celebrity and then it just ends there. Because once it's there, there's no engagement that's going to fulfill. It's too far. It's too far. And no one, even if somebody comments on a celebrity post, yo, this is so dope, when was this? That celebrity probably doesn't have the time to respond to that.
Understandably so.
So I think my point of interest here is around the nanos. And most of them are, you might find that they have influence in their immediate communities. You know, they may not have that digital presence.
Yeah.
And it could be throughout different aspects of lifestyle, whether it be fitness, food, or this person, they're shy, you know, but he doesn't have the digital presence and may say, let's say, Hussain, how do I take my offline influence and transition it into online? As a content creator, how do I start there and how do I position myself in order to attract
Very interesting question. So what people don't know is that brands in the background, there's a lot of like extensive research that goes in. So I'll give you a quick example. A guy that walks into a Louis Vuitton store and buys 100,000 rands worth of clothing probably doesn't spend time on Instagram. If you think about it.
Yeah.
But he's a loyal customer to Louis Vuitton. Correct?
Yeah.
So what this guy then does, he doesn't need a brand to come to him. But let's say Lamborghini says to him, yo, we'd love to gift you a car for a year to drive. But we need you to... They don't need him to post it up on Instagram. They just need him to be seen in that car. So what tends to happen with nano influencers is that what we'll do with them, we'll seed them product. We'll give them product because we know that wherever you go, 100 people will be sitting around you because you're an interesting person. You don't need to post anything. Everybody that's around you will be posting it for you. And then what then tends to happen is that if you have about 400 followers on Instagram, because of those posts and people tagging you, organically your numbers start growing. They start growing and growing and growing and growing. What you could do if you want to go into that, I mean, as a nano influencer who doesn't have that much money but you have influence in your own circles, the easiest thing is to influence the guys around you to tag you each time. When they do a story, tag me.
So when they create content.
They create content for you organically and you're not paying these guys anything. All it is it's naturally growing your own following through the immediate circles that you're in. So if they know, I know Nyaz go to Hussain Van Roos and I'm fine, start on point.
Sure.
When you get there, ask him to take you a picture and they must post it. Tag me. Quiet. Carry on with life.
So now maybe moral compass. I don't know. So of course the game is about money.
Yeah, 100%.
The brand wants to make money. You as an artist, yes, you're an artist, but at some point,
yeah.
So when it comes to securing the bag versus you working with a brand that is aligning with your values, maybe on a personal note, how have you balanced that and how would you encourage other folks who are coming into the game to balance the brand aligning with their values, getting the money, but at the same time trying to make sure you're happy?
Okay, so I'll bring this back home. So when I left the bank, the finance sector, what I then did, I started my own business, right? Bringing a whole different culture into South Africa, which was fixie cycling, 6-gear bikes, fixing diaries. We ran the company, it's still running today. I took a step back and I let the kids basically run it now because I'm like, it's enough for me, you guys can carry on. Ran the company, I think we started it in 2014. Ran the company and we did not care about brands coming to us. We just did it because of passion, right? The company then grew and grew and grew, but we were making revenue because we had a product to sell. And we were selling this product not knowing that people will actually buy it. But it came out of Soweto. And the only thing we knew is that on a Saturday or Sunday, papalazos will keep on ngenyama enhloko or yopa inhliziyo or whatever the case may be, right? But then we decided, man, there's an alternative way to actually do this. Started cycling every Sunday after a heavy night on the Saturday. And then it picked up, started growing and growing and growing. And then international brands like Puma noticed, Adidas noticed. And then we started doing stuff with it. But because it was out of passion for us, we actually didn't care about the bag. But then when I sat and I realized that, no man, we need to sustain something here. We then decided to open up a pop-up shop in Melville alongside Puma. It was a collaborative thing. It was called the Fishbowl, right? And we took a concept that Puma was doing in Dubai, we replicated it in South Africa. We started doing rides, content and everything. Puma was funding all of that. So through that, we then started building our own brand of bicycles through Puma, which we then started selling to make revenue for us. Can you see that the passion is still there? It's just now we have this brand that we are affiliated with. So the balance that you need to strike between you securing the bag and your passion. There's a Japanese concept called Ikigai. Ikigai, right? So Ikigai is basically a concept that says, find your purpose. I love circles. Anything that has circles, it basically helps me live better and think smarter, right? So Ikigai says, as a human being, you've got 4 pillars in every human being's life, right? It's purpose. It's for your purpose. You've got your profession. You've got a number of other things. But essentially, what it then says to you or tries to define for you is that, is your passion making you money? If it is making you money, that means it's your vocation. You are called to do this. Imagine a priest. A priest doesn't need to get a monthly salary, but his house is paid for, his car is paid for, his groceries are paid for, because he's within his purpose. This is what he's been called to do. It's his calling, essentially. And then for professional, he went to school to study for it. He's now in the role that he studied for, and he gets paid for it. That's his profession. But he might have a side hustle, like creating content for social media. And that side hustle is not paying him anything. That's his passion. He loves doing it. So Ikigai, please share it with your followers. Ikigai is a very good tool for you to go through, and it basically defines how you can structure a work-life balance. And it will help you understand that if you have a passion for something, don't sleep on it, because that idea will go cold. It will go very cold. And once it goes cold, it's already skipped to somebody else. That's how the universe works. So how I did it was, after fixing diaries and I started handing over fixing diaries, in my head I started getting ideas. I got approached by a British brand, Ben Sherman, to be the brand ambassador in the whole country, in fact Africa. And I didn't know what to do. I was this guy who was building bicycles. My hands are always greasy. Now I need to wear suits. What the hell, you know? But through research, I then realized that actually in Europe, bicycles and suiting go hand in hand. It's actually a basic mode of transport. There's a guy called Scott Schumann. He's a photographer, a very well-known photographer globally. He actually was here in South Africa, did some stuff with a couple of cats here. Scott Schumann is a very good guy on capturing, like bringing celebrities into one room, sit around one table. But when I looked, there's a concept that he runs, it's called Dinner for 25. And Dinner for 25, basically you find the likes of John Malkovich, you'll find the likes of Kanye West, you'll find the likes of my favorite guy in the entire world when it comes to style, Alessandro Squazzi, right? Old man, but geez, dude, dapper as ever, right? And he brings them into one seating. But when you watch that video, Dinner for 25, it's on YouTube, you'll see that it's so relaxed and nonchalant. Like, it's like me walking into a daily paper store, right? And guys come in on their bikes and parks his bike on the side, and then from there, that's when I then found this idea to say, oh snap, I could actually take Fixing Diaries to be partners with Ben Sherman, and I can ask guys to come wearing suits. Ben Sherman can display their products around, and we can cycle around the hood wearing suits, come back, chill out, have a lunch, then we can do it again one more time, but we're creating a vibe and a buzz. That concept, the campaign, won us 2 awards globally. And what I'm trying to say is that with me personally, I only started securing the bag when I thought outside the box. When I realized that whatever I've studied for isn't necessarily what's going to bring me the money that I want. But what gives me nightmares or sleepless nights is what I need to wake up and write it down. So I have this thing where if I wake up in the middle of the night, I try and find where my head is at. Was I dreaming about something? Whatever the dream was and it got me excited, I write it down. I'll think about it in the morning and go back to sleep. Because I never know where my next big idea comes from. Sometimes it might be me driving around and then I see, oh, I could actually do that better. Because right now, a lot of the things have been invented. Now it's just reinvention. And finding that like bag, passion, balance, you need to ask yourself, what is it that I want to do? And Ikigai will help you do it.
I think a great takeout from that is always having that profit-driven versus passion-driven.
Yeah.
You know, if you pursue your passion, it will eventually pay you back. You know, and I think I want to touch on this. As much as it's a numbers game, how important is it? And this is from a brand's perspective. How important is it for brands to sort of like work with the real influencers, people that are authentic to the causes? Because what we see most of the times is that the lazy work, you know, partnering with either the celebrity or the mega.
Be careful.
No, you know, most of the times you see the campaign, but you see this person that's been, the partnership. This person is not really well versed on the cause, or they're not as passionate about it, and so you know deep down. There's another influencer who's influencing the influencer. Who's the real influencer influencing this one? How important is it for the brands to work with? I almost dropped names because we had this conversation with Lazi, but briefly, you know. Yeah.
So great that you mentioned Lazi. Lazi is a very good friend of mine, right? I'm gonna be very diplomatic about this. Okay? I want to be diplomatic about it because I come from both sides, okay?
Yeah.
But here's what you need to figure out. Imagine you are an influencer agency, right?
Yeah.
You work with, or you've secured 12 accounts with different major brands, right? And you have a pool of influencers, 30 of them. Now, all of these brands, in say 6 months, they say to you, let's say out of those 12 brands that you're working with, 8 of them say to you, yo, we need a campaign, an influencer campaign that's going to run for 3 months in the next 6 months. Now, you only have a pool of about 30, right?
Yeah.
You've got your celebrity influencers, you've got your micro and your macro, right? Great. Now you are an advertising agency or influencer marketing agency. You are under pressure to produce content for every single one of these because you're on retainer. They've paid you already. You have to come up with the work. The longer you take, the more one of those brands is going to say you're not doing your job. They're going to pull out. Now, as an agency, you're losing the money, right? So, I'd say to you, every brand knows that it is very important that every influencer they work with needs to be as organic and as fitting to the brand as possible. The lazy work doesn't necessarily come from the brand, but more the middleman that's in between, trying to navigate the space. So what I like doing, and this is what I always say to the brands that I work with, is that, yo, I want this to be as organic as possible. And I'm going to say this to you, the people that I'm going to bring as influencers are people that I know will actually buy this brand because they like it or they enjoy it. You understand what I'm saying? Not because they have 10,000 or 10 million followers, and those 10 million followers are probably aspiring kids who aren't able to buy it. Take for instance, my biggest clients that I work with now is Mattel Movement Perrier Jouet, right? Perrier Jouet, yeah. So those are my 3 biggest clients now. And with that being said, I cannot go and say, let me pick one. I'm not going to say names. I'm not going to go find a celebrity that does not drink and say to them, yo, I need you to be my influencer on this campaign.
I almost said something, but
Don't say it. Don't say it. I've seen it happen in this country a lot of times. I've seen it happen. I'm just like, how? And I've had so many debates. I'm like, why? We all know that this person doesn't drink. No, but maybe he's going to start. Dude, that makes no sense. Start now because you got the bag. Come on. So you're going to change who you are. So that means to me it's no longer as authentic as a brand is trying to put themselves out there as. Dude, a lot of people ask me, they're like, yo, you're Muslim. You work with alcohol brands. I'm like, so? And they say, isn't that? I'm like, are you God? Do we have who are you to ask me such a question? Because I believe in one thing, right? Is that every human being in the universe has a place. And your destiny, or however you navigate your life, there are decisions that you make. And what's funny enough is that every second or every moment in your life that you travel through it, you have 2 choices, a yes or a no. And throughout those 2 choices, whichever one you make, you get an outcome. And that outcome leads you closer to your destiny. Even if you chose to go right, you're still going forward. It's not that you're going right, you're going backwards. No. Every moment that you go, either you say yes or you say no. When I came in here, you asked me, do you want a coffee? I knew I had a coffee this morning. You asked me, do you want a coffee? I said to you, yes. And I wanted black. No milk, no sugar, right? At that point, I decided I want coffee. It's gonna keep me going for the rest of the day. But I know that by 4 or 5, I'm gonna start crashing down. I already know that that's my destiny for the day. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'll tell you, it is very important for us as brands to understand that the influencer we work with must be organic. They need to be speaking to the real people, the real person that will actually enjoy the brand. Imagine selling a daily paper sweatshirt to, what's our ex-minister of Home Affairs, Malusi Kika. That guy wears suits every day. Do you think he's ever going to wear this thing? But you're saying he must be an influencer. That makes no sense. You understand what I'm saying? So it's very important. And exactly. And a lot of maybe Mbalula dude is a rock star. He's a rock star. And a lot of the time, a lot of the brands don't do their research, and that's troubling for me. You just need to do the research, man. Spend time. Don't rush things, because the minute you rush it, it's just gonna flop. You're gonna have like a short span. And the trends now in social media is that we're moving more towards video, more than images. Yes, images are appealing, but images only last for like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and they're gone. They're fleeting. But video, that's why stories have become so popular, because video allows for people to consume it and they can go back if it's still within a 24-hour period. But if it has enough impact, people will go and find that video. They will go and find it. So it's very important. Brands need to choose carefully. We need, as brands, so this is me and with my brand cap on, we always need to choose carefully.
I'm good, man.
Yeah. As a content creator, video, passion, organic, you hear all those things. Yeah.
So, any closing remarks for the kid who's sitting there thinking, man, this influencer Shandis, I want that piece of $10 billion.
Yeah.
How do I come in?
Dude, it's very lucrative. 2 years ago, it was about having that crisp content. It was about you hiring a photographer, doing insane stuff, hanging out of buildings, hanging on bridges. Don't risk your life, man. It needs to be as organic as you can do it. Like, if you're chilling at home and there's something that's interesting to you, like I'm chilling here and I'm thinking to myself, oh snap, I work with G-Star. Maybe I can just snap these boots and then just post it. Tag G-Star, carry on with my life. And this is what they want. They want to see their products in your everyday life. In your everyday life, man. It doesn't matter what product it is. In your everyday life. You're sitting in your car, you're driving somewhere. I'm not saying shoot whilst you're driving. When you stop and something's interesting you or you're playing your favorite jam, just replay it as soon as you stop. Record that stuff, sing along to it, have fun. Post it. Organic. Tag whoever is involved in that video. Dude, it's that simple, man. It's not hard work. It is not hard work. It's just that guys who are now professionals in this influencer gig, they have to take it serious, because brands are looking for a specific feel or hue, They want to see the products featured in a certain way, because now, the minute you are now a professional in this game, you are now basically representing the brand. So for you to get into it, be organic. The brand wants to see your persona. Do you fit the brand hues? Do you fit the brand DNA? Once they know that you are actually part of this brand, you are street, you are smart, you're connected, people know you. It makes your life so much easier. Yeah.
And that was it. Shout out to Hussain. Shout out to Tapelele Duma.
Yeah,
shout out to myself.
Yeah. YDS Season 3 will be popping up in different spaces. As you can see, we came through with the full heat. Daily paper pop-up store in Newtown Junction. Shout outs. Yeah. Everyday life, man. We just come here and have conversations. Check out the drip. Hey, see if it's corrupt, man. There's drip all over here.
And that's it. Thank you very much. We out.
Shout outs.
Thank you so much, man.